The next thing we were supposed to cover was a Seven Dwarves activity. Since we were unable to have class, I just gave you the notes and you can go through those. So what might affect our memory? So things like culture, our attention, time, and meaning. Those are some things that will affect our memory and help us to process things and store things. So we have what's called the information processing model. So it comes with 3 key parts, which is encoding, storage, and retrieval. So we must get the information into our brain, that's encoding it. We then must retain the information over time, so we have to store it. And then now we want to get it back out, so that's retrieval. So we also have what's called this tip of the tongue phenomenon. So that is when, almost as if you could retrieve, or someone asks you a question, you can like think of the name in your head, but you can't quite pronounce the name, or you can't figure out what the answer to the question is, but it's like right there, like the tip of the tongue. So this occurs when retrieval does not produce a complete response, but parts of it. We also then have organization, so how we organize it in our brain. So it is sometimes organized by sound, by letter, or by meaning. So if someone asked you a question and you gave the wrong answer, the reason that you might have given the wrong answer was because it sounded like something, or it had the same letters, or it had the same meaning as the correct response you were looking for. We also have what's called recall versus recognition. So recall is a 2-step process, so it involves the generation of possible targets and the identification of genuine ones. So you have to recall it and then identify which ones are correct. Where recognition is just recognizing, if you had a list of something, you'd just have to recognize what it was. So for a recall type question, like let's say we're doing a test, a recall question would be like a short answer or a long answer where you'd have to give me something and then explain that something, where recognition might just be a multiple choice question which you had to recognize the correct answer. So then we have working our short-term memory versus our long-term memory. So long-term memory is greater, so it can hold more things over time, so over hours, days, or years, where short-term memory usually has a capacity of 7 plus or minus 2, which means anywhere from 5 to 9 pieces of information. So this is usually helps, or chunking usually helps this, and to organize our thoughts better. I think that was it for that lesson. The next thing we'll work on is our sensory memory.